Welcome. We're excited to be here today. Thank you everyone for coming to Black Tech Fest 2022. We at JP Morgan Chase are excited to be the official accessibility partner. What that means is you see these words up here. We're providing live captioning. And we're so excited about that because that means everyone around the world can see this and be a part of this. And accessibility, inclusiveness is what we're all about here at JP Morgan Chase. So, well, I wanted to get started today and talk a little bit about me and our panel and who we are. So I'm Anthony Reynolds. I'm your moderator today. I work in diversity, equity, and inclusion. I work on the Office of Disability Inclusion team, business growth and entrepreneurship. So what does all that mean? That means that I help businesses and entrepreneurs, tech startups grow and scale their businesses and make impacts. So we're so excited about that here at JP Morgan Chase, uplifting the community and making impact in the community. So I have a unique panel with me today with distinguished leaders, Black executives here at JP Morgan Chase. I'm going to start from my left here and start with Adafe Onarim, and just really excited to have her join us today. And I guess tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at the firm.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Adafe Onarim. I am the Executive Director in Global Technology Infrastructure. We are the part of the bank that builds everything the bank runs on. So we process trillions of dollars in payments, and the bank has to have the infrastructure to run that on. I'm a data SME, subject matter expert, and I work with architects all day and with product teams who are building the products that we sell to our lines of business. So whether that's our retail bank Chase or asset and wealth management, whoever we're working with in the bank, we provide the infrastructure to make that run. I'm also the champion for BOLD, which is our Black Leadership Business Resource Group. I'm very, very pleased to be the champion for BOLD Glasgow, which is where I work out of. There are not many Black people in Glasgow, but we want to make sure that people who are Black and live in Glasgow and work in Glasgow feel welcome, feel included, and we help them to progress into the leaders that they're meant to become.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And now to my left, I also have Donna Marie Patton. Donna, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Actually, when I was last asked that question by our senior HR business partner, I started off all workified. So I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I feel like I wanted to just share a little bit about me personally. So I was brought up in northwest London. I have two wonderful parents. They're both from Jamaica, and they came over when they were 15, 16 years old, sent by their mums at the time for what was described as a better life. And I have a brother who's 10 years older than me. We're a super close family. My mum and dad, they're now retired, but they did work tirelessly during the years that they did work so that my brother and I would not have to go without wherever possible. I love, when we talk about outside of work, I am super active. I love all things fitness. I'm actually a fitness instructor on the weekend on mini trampolines and these springy boots called Kangoo boots. I love to travel. I love to read. I love to, enjoy new experiences, because for me, all of that is what helps me thrive and focus within the workplace. You've got to have a balance, right? And then I guess if we move into what it is that I do at JPMC, I am a technical program manager. So I'm the person that I guess takes ideas and transforms them, delivers, actually executes those things. Because you have these ideas, people, and those not necessarily the same people that can actually execute and make things happen. So I'm the person that makes things happen. I'm actually in my role for my 6th week, so I've been with JPMC since last year, but I'm in this new role and I'm super excited on the opportunity to grow the role and shape it to how I would want it to be, because it's kind of like the first role in its kind in terms of how it's situated within the organization. I too do work within global technology infrastructure, but more specifically within the database product line. So if you can imagine all the different types of databases, Oracle, Sybase, DB2, on and on and on, and then we think of what's in the cloud, there's a lot of transformative work that needs to happen. So I'm that person that spans the portfolio to drive a lot of that delivery. So that's me.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing. That's great story to tell, and thank you for what you do. All right, next up we have Ade Onjibanjo. Ade, I'd love to tell us a little bit about you and what you do for here at JP Morgan Chase.
Okay, so I think I will take a mix of the approaches. I'll start by talking about myself for a bit, and then what I do. So actually, I went to primary school in Hackney and secondary school in Tower Hamlets, which is just down the road. And then from there, university and so on and so forth. But I've definitely been brought up around here. In terms of what I do day to day, and you said you're all things sports. So I'm a triathlete. So I actually started by running a marathon a few years back, and then I thought that was pretty cool. Let me try a triathlon. And then I realized that to do a triathlon, you have to know how to swim. I never actually learned how to do that before. So I started quite late learning to swim. Actually, my instructor was astonished because I kept sinking. And he would go, "It's not possible to sink that fast." I go, "Hey man, I did it. What's wrong with you, man?" So, but after about a year and a half of really struggling, I managed to get from one end of the pool to the other. And then cycling was okay because I learned to cycle when I was a kid, so that was fine. But it was the swimming that killed me, but eventually got swimming as well. And it's a good investment because actually swimming is a very good form of exercise. So I'm quite happy now that I spent the time learning to do that. So triathlon. Recently had a baby, 10-month-old. So,
congratulations.
Thank you very much. So less of that now. In terms of on Sunday mornings, I get up and I think, do I go on my bike or my kid? And the thing is, my bike doesn't smile at me, and my kid does. So he always wins. In terms of work, I work currently within AI research technology. So what does that mean? So I guess everyone's pretty much aware of the impact and power of artificial intelligence, and it can apply to so many different places. So what we do is we look to make sure we can use it for within the business and the bank, but also for better social good. So an example of what we do is we all hear about how lending decisions can kind of sometimes be biased. So we work on a lot of that to see how we can sort of go through the data, correct it, and try and filter out bias. So that's one example, but we work on a lot of different things across the firm.
Ade, thank you so much for sharing that. So that's amazing. And kind of on that, what you're doing, how did you guys get here? How did you get to JP Morgan Chase? What was that journey like? Dafe, how did...
Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was headhunted by JP Morgan. I didn't even know they had an office in Glasgow. So someone saw a tweet I wrote and then got in touch with one of the managing directors in JP Morgan. And he sent me an email saying, "Hey, do you want to meet and talk about a job?" Because I was like, I don't want to go to London because I've just moved to Scotland. And he said, "Oh no, we have an office here, Waterloo Street." I was like, "We do? Really?" So I didn't know anything about JP Morgan's tech center in Glasgow at the time. And then 13 interviews later, that's not normal, by the way. It was more of trying to find me a place to be the best place for me rather than it being your usual. But quite a few interviews later, I took a role in the Technology Standards and Architecture Governance Group. And it might seem a strange place to go in if you're an implementer. But I started my career as a practitioner. So I was a database developer. I was everything you would now consider a database engineer. I worked as a database administrator. I worked as a data architect. So I kind of did all of those roles in the first 15 years of my career. So I knew the technology side in and out. And then I thought, well, one of the things that really kind of bothered me was that my customers were never delighted, right? They'd get the report they asked for, and they'd still be like, not really happy with this. So my journey has really been a quest to make my customers delighted with data. I went back to university in 2013 to do my master's in business intelligence. And when I was at university, I came across open data, and I thought, this is amazing. This is data for social good and social impact. So I was really fortunate. After my master's, I joined a small startup consultancy that was working for the World Bank. And I got to go all over the world and work with people from Afghanistan, France, UK, Scotland, Mexico on data projects. And what the World Bank was trying to do was create an open standard for disclosing how governments spend their money on everything from schools to mops to roads. And that really taught me so much. I learned so much doing that, how to work on a global standard, how to make sure that it was set for every language that people spoke, how to make the data actually make sense, and to deal with all of the politics, the small p politics, as well as the big actual, these countries don't like each other politics. So that experience really kind of set me up for what I do now, which is data standards, data strategy, and data governance. So I've worked since then on lots of data standards. I've written a book on data standards as well. Really for everyone who isn't a data person, that's what the book is for. I'm a big fan of making things simple. For me, governance is enabling. So I always compare it to having guardrails on a mountain road, so you don't come off the roads, but you also want to give people some speed boosts. So if you've ever played Mario Kart, that's how I imagine that we provide those tools. So in a nutshell, make it easy for people to do the right thing. Wow. Because in governance, the client is the bank. We're trying to protect the bank. But we also want to help you to do your job well. And a lot of software developers are like, you're just making things hard for me. You're just bringing in all these rules, and I don't want all these rules. I want to deliver. And we're like, we're really trying to keep you out of jail. That's our job, is to keep you out of jail, but also to do it in a way that you can benefit, right? So it's been great because I consider my role a consultancy role. People ask me, what's the best solution for this? And we produce tools, we produce guidance, and we work with people to essentially navigate the complexity of data around the world. So can I store data about people in China, in Brazil? No, you can't, because you're not allowed, right? Mm-hmm. How do I create the best data model for this application? Anything like that, we're here to help people do that and to translate and interpret the rules that the bank has set because the regulators have asked us to do so. So my journey to JP Morgan was very twisty. My last role before coming to JP Morgan was head of data for the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. So I've had roles right at the top of organizations, but a lot of it was down to just taking that journey, going back and doing my masters and building my network. That's how I got to where I was, because I started to get headhunted rather than having to go and look for roles. But before that, there was a huge amount of learning everything about data, and luckily I found my passion early and I was able to follow it. So it keeps me going. It's the enthusiasm that keeps me going, even when I have challenges. And I would say that I got to JP Morgan really on the back of having some really great friends, enjoying what I do, and having that platform to share with the world how I see data.
Wow, that is an amazing journey. Thank you so much for sharing, and we're so lucky to have you here at JP Morgan Chase. Talk about experience and background. We're glad you're on our side. Ade, would you like to share how did you get here to JP Morgan Chase? What was your journey like? How was that experience?
Well, actually, I have two reasons why I joined, and neither of them is a very good reason, but I'm going to be honest and go through. So I joined a long time ago, and what actually happened is I read The Economist, which is I love reading The Economist, and they had an article about a bank that was looking to develop a new kind of model that could price any arbitrarily complex, infinitely complex derivative. And I'm like, sounds pretty cool. And it sounds like really confusing. So that kind of attracted me to the bank. So I went to interviews, talked to them, they liked me. I was kind of half and half, and they said, oh, by the way, if you join the bank, we fly you first class to Concorde to New York. And I was like, sign me up, sign me up. And I joined, and I never got to fly in Concorde. But
I love your American accent, by the way.
I practice. I practice by watching NBA games. Hey, I could start. No, that's off topic. Anyway, yeah. So I joined. So I never got to fly Concorde, but what I did get to do was work with a lot of really amazing people. I'll spend a lot of time working in trading. So I know right now I work in artificial intelligence, but for the first sort of 15, 20 years of my JP Morgan life, it was all about derivatives, risk management, trading systems, algorithmic trading, risk management, and just working with traders the entire time. So it's been a fantastic journey. Right now I work in AI, and as I mentioned earlier, AI can be applied to many different areas, and one of the areas is within trading. But that's kind of where I am. But I just enjoy working there, working with people there. It's been a really great time.
Another amazing journey and experience. Again, glad to have you here at JP Morgan Chase. And I've never got to fly the Concorde, but I did see it when it went to Columbus, Ohio. If anyone could tell my accent, I'm actually from the United States, so just want to put that out there. Donna Marie, what about you? What was your journey like? How did you get to JP Morgan Chase?
So I feel like I'm just going to give you a quick whistle stop before the actual moment that I joined JPMC, because I think from your seat you're probably thinking, well, they've joined an organization at a fairly senior level, but what about me? How do I, because for me, once upon a time I felt like JPMC was that that organization that's out there like me, JPMC kind of thing. Just so you know, my A-levels were biology, performing arts, and what was my third one? French. So nothing to do with IT. My university degree was business information technology, so that was IT. My first 10 years was within support or application management, as you want to call it. And I stayed with like software vendor houses, like the much smaller organizations. It was about learning and acquiring necessary skills to be in the support world, just a sponge really. And then I progressed into organizations like UBS, found really good recruiters. UBS, I had a stint at Barclays Capital as well. And it was at my 10 years where I was like, I'm not sure I kind of want to be at the end of the phone 24/7 with things going wrong and you've got traders going, ah! So I therefore made an informed decision to move into program management. There were aspects of the support role that I really, really loved, the driving the change, knowing what good looks like, working with development teams to, increase the quality of code and what they were delivering kind of thing. So I made an informed decision to move into program management. I would say that a large portion of my time was at Deutsche Bank. I was just there for just shy of 9 years, and again, absorbing, progressing up the corporate ladder. I could say on reflection, I was probably at a really lovely, great stage of my career when I was at Deutsche Bank. We were 6 months into the pandemic. I was thriving, I was delivering, I was happy, I was enjoying what I was doing. Why would I move? And I was just like, well, me being me, I'm never quite happy just being in my comfort zone, so let's try something different. I too was approached by JPMC. I'm like, I'm the person now that's being headhunted and approached, like whoever knew. And I might say that actually when I first looked at the role, I was like, I'm not sure that I said, you're asking for the whole world and its dog here. There is no one out there that can do this role, has all these skills and experiences. It's just not going to happen. But I said, you know what, I'll have a conversation with the hiring manager just to see how he is. I was open to, a different culture experience after being in an organization for nearly 9 years. Let's see what's out there. And I had said that my next opportunity would be about the people first, the role second. So as I've progressed in my career, where it's been about the role first and then who I report into, it's changed for me over time. So within the first 5 minutes of speaking to my hiring manager at the time, I was like, do you know what? I can see myself working with this guy. Mine was 5 interviews. 5 interviews later, or conversations, I decided to take on the role. So that's kind of like a whistle stop of my journey. I just wanted to kind of share the backstory.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And again, we're so glad to have you at the firm. And I think you hit a really good point there. You talked about the people. So it sounds like you're talking about culture. And, I can talk a little bit about my experience with culture at JP Morgan Chase. It's been amazing. Again, I'm from America. I'm here in London today wearing Air Jordans, talking about diversity, entrepreneurship, and leadership. I think it's amazing to have that opportunity. When we're talking about diversity, Donna Marie, what does diversity mean to you?
So, when I think about diversity, I think about uniqueness, and I come at that with an NLP lens. So, for those that are not familiar with NLP, that's neuro-linguistic programming. And in simple terms, that's the study of excellence, right? Now, if we stop thinking about differences as weaknesses and we really start to realize how powerful when we understand that our differences, our uniqueness is a power. It's very powerful. So, and what I mean by that, if you think about the individual values and beliefs that we hold, the individual experiences that we hold, the internal representations of how we view the world, how we experience the world, and then on top of what we would normally, generally consider as diversity, which is your social, cultural background, your gender, your sexual orientation, that's a whole lot of stuff which makes a person unique and super powerful. So for me, that's what diversity is, uniqueness.
Wow, very well put. Amazing, by the way. Adafe, you spoke a little bit about leadership earlier, I think, and just your experiences and kind of taking charge in your roles and growth. What does leadership mean to you?
To me, leadership is very different because I am a black woman, I'm queer, I'm married to a woman, I'm a cat mom, I have my cat socks, my cat's on my socks, that's my commitment to being a cat mom. So leadership when I was growing up in the 70s, I am that old, was very much one thing. It was that white, older male, gravitas, maybe a touch of silver on the temple, the power to fire people. And I just didn't identify with that. So for me, a lot of my career, I ran away from leadership. I didn't want to be a manager. I didn't want to be a boss. I just wanted to do the work. I found the work really interesting. But as I got older, society started to change and new forms of leadership emerged. And I could start to see myself in a leadership role that wasn't one where I was a general and these were my troops and they did what I told them to do, which I find completely boring. So for me, leadership is how you inspire and sustain the work of other people to achieve impact. So it's not about a goal, because people tend to say it's about achieving a goal, and I think so many people do busy work that doesn't mean anything, just so that they can say they've ticked these things off and they've met a goal. I'm all about the impact. How are we making people's lives different? And I've also been challenged to say, why would you go and work in a bank? Think about it, everyone deals with money, right? Unless you're maybe like the king, you don't carry cash. But everyone deals with money. Money really impacts our lives. Access to money, access to bank accounts, access to finance, access to the things you need to grow your business or the things you need to grow yourself. That is incredibly powerful. And when I was offered this role at JP Morgan, I could see how my skills could help so many people around the world. I could have global impact, and my team actually has global impact.
Wow.
I could help people all across the globe by changing the way people in the organization think about data. So for me, that is leadership. I don't have a big team. I'm actually just hiring my first person.
Congratulations.
But thank you, he's amazing. But the impact that I've been able to have on people who don't work for me, that for me is leadership. And I'm all about collaboration and all about making sure the vision is there and that people are sustained. So people are at the center of it. We can't burn out the people who work with us. It would just lead to poor results. We would not get what we wanted. So for me, it's about helping people get that balance of being excited, working through, delivering, getting that impact, but also taking care of themselves. And that wasn't something I saw in the 70s growing up. But now we have all sorts of leaders But the important thing again is always about inspiration and also about sustainability and always about people.
Amazing. Wow, that's a great perspective, and thank you for sharing. Ade, can you talk to me a little bit about what does innovation mean to you?
Okay, thanks for the question. So I think both Donna Maria and Edafe have spoken a lot about how people are important, and I think the same is the case with innovation. It's around looking at what people need or think or want, and trying to figure out, is there some way or some other way of doing this, or is there something else you can create? So innovation comes a lot from having sort of deep connection with people, understanding what it is that they need to do, what they want to do, and then looking into the future. So one of the biggest things in innovation is if you can see a problem and see what's impossible today and ask yourself, why is it impossible? Is there one thing or two things that can change this? Because a lot of things that are really important now come from things that seem impossible. So if we give an example, so the iPhone, everyone loves the iPhone now. When they first came out, having a phone without buttons, people thought it can't work because there's no way you can have a phone without actual buttons you can click, and no one will be able to type. And that was actually true at the time, because if you can imagine an iPhone without the autocorrect, you couldn't use it. But because they thought of that as well, that's what transformed it. So a lot of times in innovations, it's looking at something and seeing something a bit different and seeing what different thing can I do. So I think deeply thinking about problems, having some passion in that space, thinking about people, are all sorts of things that kind of roll up to innovation. It's also about trying a lot of different things, because hardly anything ever works the first time. I mean, no one ever just does one thing and it just works and brilliant, right? It's always, you kind of try a thing, it doesn't work, and then you've got to be able to think to yourself, why didn't that work? What's different? How can I make this better? And just having that sort of continuous cycle within your mind to continuously improve and reach out to people, I think that's really big.
Fantastic. That's, again, another amazing perspective. So I kind of have a question for the panel here. Is we have a great audience here. And a lot of people, we have a booth here too at Black Tech Fest. A lot of folks have been walking up and asking, like, how do I get in your shoes? How do I get to JP Morgan Chase? So if you can give like one piece of advice of, someone looking to come to JP Morgan or maybe aspire to be an executive, what would you give the folks here?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
The first thing that springs to mind is, firstly, believe in yourself and go for it, right? Trust in yourself, the necessary research that you need to do or support. Don't be afraid to ask for help, or whether it's your family, friends, mentors that you might have, or people in your network, sponsors, if you need some help. Obviously I don't want to hog up all those, but those sort of initial things that spring to mind in terms of the biggest thing for me is believe in yourself and go for it. Everything is within your reach should you want to go for that. Yeah, you are the only person that holds yourself back in anything that you do.
Thank you.
So Ade and Donna Marie have already touched on two things that are going to really help you. One is the pursuit of excellence. I love that. That's absolutely what drives me. And also the ability to keep trying things, right? Having that curiosity. I think as technologists, if you want to be a technologist, having those things is really important. Having that mindset of continuous improvement and pursuit of excellence will take you very, very far. But the most important thing is you need to also be yourself, right? People on that side of the stage will look at people on this side of the stage and think we don't make mistakes. That is not true. I am learning all the time, right? And a lot of the times I actually learn from mentoring or coaching or sponsoring, because I'm challenged to think in a way that I haven't before. And one of the dangers of getting to our level is that confidence that you know everything. Nobody knows everything. My skip line manager, or my grand boss, as I like to call him, also, takes in feedback from us. Even Jamie, the CEO, takes feedback from people. He's learning from people. Don't feel like, I've made a mistake, it's the end of the world. It is not the end of the world. There's always an opportunity to improve. And the thing is the mindset. So we hire for potential and for mindset. You don't have to even have all of the skills. There's so many routes, whether you're returning to work, whether you want to be an apprentice, whether you're a graduate. There's tons of routes, and I'm always open to supporting people to apply and to find your space, to find your tribe within the bank. I'm allowed to say tribe, right? Because I'm black, right? I'm just checking. I mean, I do have a tribe. Like, I'm a Robo. I'm from Nigeria. But some people say you can't say tribe. I'm going to say tribe. You can find your tribe. Find the people that will really help you. Find your your board. You'll be the CEO of your own company yourself. Find your board of directors that will support you. But it is a journey. It's not going to be easy. Enjoy it while you're in the moment. But always remember that nobody is above making mistakes. Don't think to yourself, oh, I've messed up, I'm done. That's when you actually failed. You just need to keep going, find those people who help you, and continue to pursue excellence. I hope I've left something for you, Ade.
I'd like to correct you. You said some people people make mistakes. I never make mistakes. So I think one thing that's really important, I think we've touched on it already, is around being yourself and passion. So, if you think about entrepreneurs that are starting up companies, you get investors that come into them. And investors, the number one thing they look for is not the ideas, they look at the person. That's what they're actually investing in the person. They're saying, is this guy passionate, or is this girl passionate? Does she really believe in what she's doing? And will she run through walls? And that passion comes from doing something that you connect with. So my advice would be, if you can find something that you connect with, we all know someone that's a really sort of cautious and nervous speaker. But if you get them to talk about something they like, suddenly they kind of spin its life and they're blah, 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 blah. And there's something really empowering and energetic about doing something that you really love. So my advice would be to try and find a profession or something that you really relate to. And sometimes it's not obvious what it is. So you've got to try a few things out. I mean, a lot of people work here for a year, there for a year, just trying to figure out what it is. But when you find something that you really like, it's kind of easy for you to do, and you'll do really well. If you don't like it, even if you're paid a lot of money, you won't like it and you kind of hate it. So try and find something you enjoy doing. With diversity, people are good at different things. So the stuff that one person might like, another person might hate. So it's kind of down to you to kind of figure out what it is that you like. And the other thing, once again, is just around people. I mean, I think if you are setting up a firm of your own, the most important thing is to get the right people so that people kind of work together and enjoy being there. That's super important. Because once again, even if you're paid a lot, if you hate where you work, it's not going to work out well.
Excellent. Wow. Thank you.
And can I just say, embrace your uniqueness.
Wow. That's very powerful. So, do what you like, be passionate about it, embrace your uniqueness, as well. Pursuit of excellence. Those are very powerful words. I'm so glad to kind of hear that. And Ade, you touched on something that's very unique too. You said entrepreneurship. That strikes with me. So, as a member of the Business Growth and Entrepreneurship team within Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, I'm actually a former entrepreneur. And I actually went after my passion and sold my company, and then came back to join JP Morgan Chase to help entrepreneurs in the pursuit of excellence. So you're absolutely right, and I love what I do here. I love our culture. I think we have a few moments here. I'd love to ask some questions to the audience here. If anyone has any questions, we can get some questions to the audience. All right. If you want to pass the mic out. Sorry.
Hi there. You guys mentioned the importance of being passionate and being a continuous learner. My question for the panel is, what does JP do to necessarily encourage and support employees who want to learn, grow, evolve? Would they pay for training and development? Would they pay for another degree? And where does that start? Where does it end?
So there's not one answer across the board for everything. Depends a lot on the area. So within technology, I know we provide a lot of resources, like access to things like O'Reilly and Joel. There's a lot of training that you can get for free. That's in there. And then the next level depends on what specific area you're in. So if you're working, for example, in the trading area, and it will benefit for you to learn more about the products and risk analytics, they definitely pay for that. There's definitely a training budget, but I think the thinking, it used to be back in the old days when I joined, it was like you go on a course for a week and that was what it was. Nowadays, I think there's more of a thinking that a lot of stuff is available. So if you combine your passion with learning stuff, then you get also to work on courses. But yeah, a lot of what we do is fairly new. So, but there is support for courses and doing that.
I was just going to add another lens. If we take, for example, moving to the cloud and people wanting to become practitioners, etc. I know, for example, I'm studying for that, and JPMC afford the exam, for example, right? So the material out there is free. Amazon makes that available, but the actual exam JPMC is paying for. Then something like NLP programming, which is something that I just love. It's my passion. I'm a trainer right now. That's something that I've afforded. However, the time to go and assist training and that kind of stuff, they allow me the time, right? So like Ade say, there's not one answer for everything. Really very much depends. Having open and transparent conversations with your manager in terms of where development areas may be, where your interests may be, how does that tie back into bringing value back to the bank, then they will do their utmost to support you on that journey.
So I'll add, I'm in global technology, so clearly technology is important. So we have access to Pluralsight, O'Reilly as standard. We also have degrees, so we have one person who's doing a degree in my team. He goes once a week to Southampton. My line manager is doing a master's, so that level's also covered. I'm currently doing my cloud certification and TOGAF for architecture certification, so all of that is covered. Every year in your annual review, you get to set your learning goals. One of my learning goals from my grand boss was to learn more about global markets because I'd never worked in finance before. So I got a massive book, and I've been going through that, and then I've been going to the other lines of businesses, Ade, for example, and badgering them about what they do and asking them questions. It's a great way to network because internally the company runs on relationships. So it's a great way to actually go and ask someone, because people love talking about what they do and they won't shut up. So it's great. You sit there for an hour and just get all this knowledge and absorb it. So there's lots of different ways to learn in the organization, and certainly it is supported for you to learn and develop, whether that's formally, whether that's online, whether that's going to a course. I'm coming back to London in a couple of weeks to do my TOCAF. That is all supported and encouraged. You're encouraged to improve yourself on a continuous basis.
I'm just checking if we've got some more time. 1 second. No? Has anyone got any last questions at all? Okay, we've got 2. We can get through this.
Hi guys, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciated hearing some of your stories and how you got to JP Morgan. A question for the panel, for Anthony as well. As a former entrepreneur, what advice would you give for people that are that would want to apply for a role within JP Morgan, but also juggling some of their passions on the side as well? So I think it's a conversation that's not really talked about as much.
That's a fantastic question, and I would say that if you're looking at careers at JP Morgan Chase, you can always go to jpmorganchase.com/careers. As well, our recruiters are here actually today at booth C3. You can speak to them. But as far as opportunity, at JP Morgan, we have the ability to have outside roles, outside jobs if you're interested in. It's going to depend on your team and your manager, but we have amazing programs here. Like JP Morgan Chase acquires tech companies all the time. So you can actually work for a tech startup and work for JP Morgan Chase at the same time. We also have an amazing program. We committed $80 million to Techstars, making investments into the Accelerator program. So I'm actually a mentor for Techstars Accelerator. I'm actually going to see the London office on Friday for Techstars, meet some amazing companies. So there's a lot of opportunity to be in the tech, entrepreneurship side. And then even on our team with business growth and entrepreneurship, we work with startups, venture capital funds, you name it. And I'm just proud to be here at this company. And hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you.
I think we had a question over there.
Should I stand or? I'll stand. Hi everyone, my name's Aisha. Hi, I'm a bit nervous, but I actually already work for JP Morgan. I started about 2 months ago, so I work as a Python developer for the ATRS twinning team. I've just been trying to get used to and adjust to the workload as a non-technical background person. So I came today to just try to meet and connect with people that are like-minded and I guess people that I can relate to. So I just had a question. I haven't really had time to look into it, but in terms of the internal space, is there a group that I could join, or is because obviously my team is excellent. I work with Samuel Radin, but there isn't really any. There's only one other woman, and I'm the only black person on my team. So it'd be nice to just kind of have that, I guess, experience because I do want to do well in my career. That's it. Thanks.
I have to jump on this. Yeah, so HRS, I was doing some work this morning with some people in HRS. So definitely I'll come. Are you on the 5th floor or 9th?
Third.
Third floor?
Yeah, that's where we stick now, yeah.
I'm on the 3rd floor as well. Good.
Are you? Oh. Friend. Yeah.
So no, definitely, yeah. But just to answer the question, so I mean, you're in a great area. So just HRS, just for everyone that doesn't know, a lot of the automating of trading is being done through a group. So a group does automating algorithmic trading strategies. We work with them because we try to apply AI to that. But in terms of your specific question, yeah, there's definitely people to reach out to that can connect you up. So I think there's a lot of emphasis on networks within the firm. So making sure that people that work on specific things know each other. It's a bit funny that I've come here to meet you and we're on exactly the same floor. But generally, there are lots of sort of communities that are set up. So definitely we'll catch up.
Yeah, so we have what's called business resource groups, and they vary from. So Adafi had said that she was part of BOLD, so it may be that you want to look to connect or be part of BOLD as a way of expanding your network. But there are many BRG groups. Women on the Move are huge. I'm a part of that, and different things come away of that, whether it's talks or events, or there's a whole lot of stuff that happens in the various BRG groups. And then you've got us three in your network now, so you can totally reach out to us, and we'll be supportive of you in your early journey within JPMC.
Thank you.
If you ever want to come up to Glasgow, happy to have you over. So yeah, we have loads of business resource groups, and the key thing to remember is that the business resource groups are not just there to have a good time, which is, obviously we have a good time, but also you'll meet people outside your normal working area and you get to practice skills you maybe don't have the opportunity to do in your job. So take advantage of them, volunteer, get to know people, amazing opportunities. Yesterday we had the Radicals, we had June Sarpong, and my mind's gone blank now for the other because I was so impressed with her. So we had these really wonderful, radical black people coming into the firm to talk about their journey, and the volunteers were able to meet them. So you're not going to have the opportunity just at your desk. So make sure you take advantage of the networks. And I always tell people when they start a job, network hard. Don't just stay in your area. Go and look for people in CIB, look for people in other banking areas, learn about the bank, be interested in people and learn what they do, because you never know what opportunity might come your way. I'm going to Afrotech in Austin. I've never been to Austin. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. And that's because, the networks that we have, and I had the opportunity to do that. So, go out there and, get volunteering.